Hey guys, welcome to another 31 Horror Toys in 31 Days review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Color Top 7-inch Daryl Dixon figure. Now, I did not purchase this at retail price, so you can have a relieved sigh right now, but I got him on Facebook for $15. So that's the only way I would buy another one of these Color Tops, is if it's not retail price and it's not, the money's not going to McFarlane. So right now, I am completely disappointed with this figure still, but he does have some good qualities. We'll go over that. And one of the good qualities is not the box, because first off, they have a bad picture of Norman Reedus there, looking like he's a bit swole. I don't know, he looks like he had a bad day. That's not a good picture for displaying. It says Daryl Dixon up there. It's got the hit series, and then really this packaging just reminds me of like a Fisher-Price package. It doesn't really look good. And then if you are to see him displayed in the packaging, it doesn't look good. It's not like you can just hang him up on the wall and display him like that. He looks bad because his weapon's off to the side. He's all squunched up in there. His arms are all mangled up. I don't know. I'll insert a picture here of it. And the rest of the packaging, you know, it's rather basic. Shows him on the back. He's number 6, and then it says 1 of 8. So there are 8 of these piles coming out. And then there's no read-up or anything, just a completely boring package. Nothing good. Basically nothing good to say about that packaging. Okay, and where is one more accessory? There we are. Lost an accessory, I'll set that there. So, as you can see, he stands on his base like that, which is actually really hard to get him to stand in the right way on this base. You have to kind of have his one foot pivoted forward and not completely on it, in which case he is rather unstable on that, and he falls off. This base just sucks, but that's okay because you need it for him to stand, because his legs are so close together for some reason that they couldn't make his legs just a little bit more spread apart. It seems to me like it should be that way, because this is him in sort of his sneaking around pose, not really just standing there. I don't understand what they're doing there. Okay, so as we can see, it's the same stand that comes with Rick. It's got the little cracks in the base and fingerprints put into the sculpting for some reason. Yeah, then the little peg, it's completely hollow and cheap feeling, and then it says The Walking Dead on it. Never been so disappointed in something that said The Walking Dead on it. Let's set that aside, and let's take a look at his accessories. So to start out, he comes with this head, which is supposedly, I guess, the head that he puts his fingers into the eyes and uses it to smash a guy's, police officer's head in, right? But I don't know, it doesn't look like that head. It looks like it has too much spine. If I remember correctly, it was a lot thinner and not exactly like this, but I'm not going to complain too much about it because it's one of the more interesting things in this little package here, and it is mangled looking. If you want to create your own custom 7-inch figure, I believe this head is to scale, so you could hollow it out and plop it on a figure. One thing I am going to do here is take a quick look here. Believe it or not, I actually do have a 7-inch zombie, so let's just set that there for a quick look. That's pretty cool. He's from Resident Evil, and he's by NECA, one of the earlier NECA figures. So he kind of fits in with this unarticulated Daryl. Okay, the sculpting is really good on this one. It looks mangled. I like that. And the blood work, I'd say is fair. A little purpley, but maybe that's the way it should look. Some of the white bone from the spine showing there. I don't know, it looks good. He can't really hold it, however, if you want him to. You can't get him in a good display with it or anything. Let me just... getting this crossbow out of his hands is a real bother. Let me fidget with all this. Arrgh. There we are. Okay, so he can't really fit it into this hand. And then this hand here is, like, weirdly open, just so that it could, like, support the barrel of his crossbow here. But what's he supposed to do in this? He can't hold it like in the show at all, which if he had articulation wouldn't be too much of a problem because you could move him around a bit. But basically if you just shove his hand to his hip, he can sort of hold it as if it's a holster. I don't know. Why would they do this? I just don't understand. I guess you could just set it at his base, at his feet like that, but that's a stupid thing to add if you ask me. As for his crossbow, no complaints with this one. I think it looks really cool. Unfortunately, it's not such a cool figure to go along with it. The paint on it is fair. I do believe that is matched up to the show pretty accurately. I like the arrows down here. They don't feel too flimsy like on the 5-inch, which made sense because it was so tiny. And then the tips of the arrows here, looking nicely painted. I don't know, it's just basic. It looks like the 5-inch one just grown up. Okay, and then he does come with one more accessory, which is this knife here, which is a complete waste of our time, I believe. What are you going to do with this knife? He really can't be positioned in a way to look like he's actually doing something. Like, you could do that, but then this hand's always going to be in a weird pose. It looks like he's afraid, like there's a spider there and he's like, ew, This guy's more of a disappointment than Stumpy Daryl. I just figured that out. I'm going to have to do something about that. Okay, and as for his knife hand here, he can sort of fit into the other hand here, but not very well. Again, it's like it's hovering in there, like in the other hand, and it just sucks. The knife cannot work, and its sculpt is very flat and basic. It's not painted silver or anything. There's no blood paint, just black and gunmetal gray. And that goes back into his holster, which it does work in the holster, so you can at least say that. Or the sheath, whatever you want to call it. It is kind of cool to see him next to a zombie, though. I will say that. Having a 7-inch figure for that sake, not too bad. And since we're comparing him next to stuff, here he is next to my 7-inch custom Rick Grimes 7-inch figure. Yeah, whatever. That's kind of cool to see them next to each other. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the color tops. Customizing them is basically the only thing I enjoy doing. So we'll see what I do with this guy here. Okay, and then let's see how the crossbow fits in his hands. Unfortunately, there's really just one pose you can get with him. You can kind of mess around and get him into maybe a sort of other pose, but nothing else looks right other than the first original pose. So you have to fight to get this in his hand, and then screw around with all this. It's supposed to be on the outer part here, so if you try and get the butt of the rifle or crossbow on the other side, you can kind of have it like that, have it pointed upward, but then this hand again looks odd. I don't know why they had to create just a hinge on this wrist would fix this problem. Instead, he looks like he's always having a fit and he has to have his hand on his side or something. Yeah, it kind of looks okay. Again, it just doesn't look completely right, which if he had articulation, you could make it look right. And then he can't really put in a pose where he would be shooting something. Like, does that really look like he's going to kill that walker? And then the pose that they want him to be in, let's screw around so we can get that back into that pose, which is extremely hard to do, and it feels like this peg here is going to break the more I do that. Yeah, and then we get that. See what I'm talking about? This is one of the technical errors that I hate. It's got that stupid peg there, which the hand just immediately falls out of. Something that didn't happen with the 5-inch Daryl. Okay, his hand goes on that end there, and he can hold it in that position. This is basically just it. This is what you can put him in, and this is the only way he would look right. Yep, thanks a lot, McFarlane. Just another statue. He's got like about 3 different poses. 1, 2, 3. There you go. 3 different. Now let's talk about the sculpt and paint on the figure himself, which shouldn't be too hard to do. Take off that frickin'... Okay, his wings on his back are cool. I do like his vest quite a bit, so that's why if I were to make a custom, I would definitely try to keep this torso, because it looks good. As for his arms, the arms are sculpted well. I do feel like it resembles the physique of Norman Reedus. Unfortunately, it's also a bit stumpy looking when he doesn't have the crossbow in. It just looks odd and short, which is one of the problems that were with Stumpy Daryl, which, let me see if I can grab Stumpy. Here we are. Put that down, Stumpy, damn it. Okay, look at this. He's in a pre-pose, made just to hold his crossbow, and that's exactly what they did with this guy. It's like McFarlane spent all these years not learning a single thing. In fact, he learned less, because at least Stumpy has articulation, so he can be a little different. Like, look, Now he's an angry Stumpy. See? But to get this guy in angry pose, you know, you gotta screw around like this, and then his hand falls off. Articulation problems. Also a bit of sculpting problem, technically, because the way they sculpted these arms doesn't match with the articulation that they added. Okay, the hands are sculpted oddly, like, that only looks good if the crossbow's in it. And then this hand always looks like he's, I don't know, like, what is that? That's only good for one pose again. But the sculpt on the clothing is nice. It has wrinkles. It has the little buttons added in. Let me see if I can get some focus in here. Yeah, it's very detailed. Nice leathery look. Some of the stuff on the sides. Stitching. There's the sheath. There's this rag that hangs out of the back, which is made out of a rubbery material. And then he's got on his legs this, I guess that's shoelace, and then whatever the hell that is wrapping up his feet. Nice shoe sculpt. And then the face sculpt is where they improved on this figure, because it does look a lot like Norman Reedus. Maybe a little bit weird on the chin. Like, I don't know, Norman Reedus' chin doesn't seem to indent like that. And the paint on his face is a lot more solid, I will say that. His eyes are well painted, not screwed up. So he is improved over the Rick figure that they made, because I'm not going to have to repaint his face at all. And the hair is kind of cool. It's made out of a rubbery material. Well painted and well sculpted. Nice dry brush on that. And overall, I'd say he's painted well and sculpted okay. The folds of the clothing are nice. But I feel like this is stuff that we could still have gotten with the 5-inch figures. This is nothing all that special with the sculpt, except for the face, which slightly captures his, I don't know, his appearance a little bit better. And then I do feel like his arms are a little too dirty. I know he's a dirty guy. He always has dirt on his arms, but I feel like this is changing color from the color of his basic face here. It's just like really oddly dirtied up. Got this zombie in the background all the time. I don't know what that's all about. Okay, now let's talk about articulation, which is another one of his big falling downs. He can do a 360 at the head, and notice they did not put in that pre-pose neck thing, which, I mean, how stupid were they to do that? That's where that big, weird phallic thing was sticking out of the side of his neck. And then at the shoulders, he does have fair articulation. He can do 360, and then he can move outward like that, and inward like that. That's basically it. And then at the elbows, it's just a swivel. Another stupid swivel, which, I don't know, there's nothing you can do with that. And then another swivel at the wrist, which is at a weird angle, so you can't really get a good swivel with that. See, what's that all about again? At the other arm, same articulation at the shoulder, and then at the elbow, same there, only it's a little above the elbow, keep in mind. This one's a little bit more towards the bicep. And then at the other wrist, he can do a 360. Then at the waist, a slight bit of articulation. I'm not even going to count it, because that's just more of a manufacturing error. Maybe that should have been completely stuck together. Okay. And then at the hips here, they freaking did it again. Another stupid, worthless cut. What on each side? What are you going to do with this? I'm going to keep complaining until they fix this crap. Why? And then they sculpted it so deeply that if you are to articulate it at all, it looks weird. It looks weirder than a figure that's actually made to articulate. It sticks out. And at the knees, no articulation. I could have sworn I've seen versions of this that had knee articulation, but nope. Just absolutely straight there. And then at the ankles, again, there is some articulation, but it's just nothing all that great. He does have ankle pivot, there's that. And then he can move forward and back with the foot. And then on the other side is more tight. You can kind of get, ankle pivot and all. So his ankles it's kind of good to have ankle articulation, because if his legs are warped, you can kind of mess that about so you can get better poses. But on this figure, a better pose is just, the one pose. I freaking hate that so much. So guys, tell me what you think about this guy. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next review. Peace.
Come on, boy. Come on. Come on. No, bad boy. Come back. Okay, come on. Come on, big stumpy tail. sucks even more than me.
Here's Daryl next to Beth. Here's Big Stumpy Daryl next to Little Stumpy Daryl. Here's Daryl next to Daryl, and I might as well point out that the hair on the 7-inch Daryl figure is in his eyes, whereas the 5-inch, it's kind of just swooped around. So, slight difference there. And as you can see, the sculpt is quite different. The 7-inch does hold better accuracy, but still, I prefer articulation. So, that's all I got to say, guys. Peace. And here's Daryl next to a horrified looking Dale.